The Islet Transplant Program Information and Process. The pancreas is an organ that sits behind the stomach and is made up of clusters of cells called islets. These cells make the right amount of insulin to keep the blood sugar levels under control. In patients with diabetes, these cells don't make the right amount of insulin. Islet transplant has proved to be a benefit in some patients with diabetes. The Edmonton Protocol is a new way of doing islet transplants, which has created great excitement around the world. An islet transplant removes islet cells from the pancreas of a person who has died, called a deceased donor, and puts them into the liver of another person, called the recipient. The islet cells find a new home in the liver, form new blood vessels, and begin to make the amount of insulin the body needs. The Alberta Health Services Clinical Islet Transplant Program in Edmonton gives eligible patients living with diabetes in Alberta access to an islet transplant. You can also apply for an islet transplant if you live in another province. If you don't live in Alberta but are accepted into the program, you will need to get funding from the health authority in your province. We offer islet transplants to patients when all other ways to manage blood sugars have been tried and failed. The goal of an islet transplant is to have better control of blood sugar levels and lower the risk of health problems related to diabetes. Having an islet transplant does not guarantee you won't need insulin. There may be periods of time when you are insulin-free. Even if you do need to take insulin, the transplant can help you better control your blood sugar levels and prevent them from getting too low. Most often, you will need more than one transplant to best manage your diabetes. Is an islet transplant right for you? You will benefit most from an islet transplant if you have had diabetes for longer than 5 years, dangerously low or big swings in your blood sugar levels that can't be managed, or you have frequent low blood sugars without warning. An islet transplant is not for everyone. After a transplant, you will need to take powerful medicines to prevent transplanted cells from being rejected by your body. These medicines have potential risks and side effects. This is why we only offer an islet transplant to patients who can't manage on insulin injections alone. You may not be able to have an islet transplant if you are living with cancer, have kidney failure, have had diabetes for less than 5 years, or you are under the age of 18. You, your family doctor, or your diabetes specialist can make a referral to the Islet Transplant Program. You will need to complete an application that includes your general information, medical information, blood sugar level readings you take at home, and blood test results. The Islet Transplant team will look over your information in the application. The team includes surgeons, diabetes specialists, nurses, dietitians, social workers, psychologists, and administrative staff. We may need to contact you by phone if we need more information. Next steps. If it looks like an islet cell transplant may be right for you, you will need to come to Edmonton for an appointment with the team. We'll talk to you more about your medical history and do a physical exam. We'll also explain how the islet transplant is done and tell you about the risks and benefits. If a doctor on the team thinks an islet transplant might be right for you, you will need to have more tests such as x-rays, ultrasounds, blood tests, and heart function tests. We will try to arrange for you to have these tests completed close to where you live. If this isn't possible, you will need to have them done in Edmonton. You will get a chance to meet with all members of the Islet Transplant team and ask any questions. The timing of your appointments will depend on your current health situation and needs. When all the testing has been completed, the Islet team will help you decide if a transplant is a good option for you. You will need to have a support person go with you to appointments and help you through the process. Alberta Health Services covers the cost of the transplant for Albertans. You may have some out-of-pocket costs such as medicines, travel, food, and accommodation. Talk to the transplant team if you think you will need help covering these extra charges. You have to decide if an islet transplant is right for you. If you no longer want to have a transplant, talk to the team at any time. We are here to support you no matter what. If you decide to have an islet transplant, a coordinator will let you know when you are added to the wait list. You will keep seeing your family doctor, diabetes specialist, and your other healthcare providers for your general healthcare needs. An islet transplant can help improve your quality of life. Your transplant team will guide you along the way. For more information about the Islet Transplant Program, visit www.islet.ca